Eyeshield 21 exists in a weird bubble of anime popularity. On one hand, you'd be hard-pressed to find more than a handful of copies of it at your local secondhand bookstore. On the other, it was one of the most heavily marketed manga of the 2000s, and clips from the anime have amassed millions of views on YouTube. But if everyone loved it, why does no one talk about it? As a sports manga, I suppose it only had so much potential here in America. But this one was about football, America's pastime. So why didn't it catch on? What makes it such a hidden gem? What initially attracted me to Eyeshield 21 is the somewhat unique concept of a Japanese manga series based on a sport with limited popularity in the country. While it makes an attempt to explain the game's esoteric rules to an Eastern audience, it spends a surprisingly short amount of time teaching its complexities. In fact, one of the many praises from its initial serialization is that you hardly need to understand the rules to appreciate what's going on. The pacing of each game is one of Eyeshield's storytelling strengths. Rather than cataloging every down of possession, it sticks to generally only showing plays which advance the plot or have character development. It can sometimes be tough to tell what's actually happening on the field, but I guess it's much better than having to watch 3 and out after 3 and out where nothing happens. The story of Eyeshield 21 follows the life of high schooler Sena Kobayakawa, running back for the Damon Devilbats. He's recruited by his school's lowly football team for his insanely fast speed and potential as a running back. At the time he joins, the team has a mere 2 other members. But part of the fun of the early Eyeshield episodes is watching the team grow into a motley crew of misfits where the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. Kurita is a gentle giant with a passion for football. He loves anything football related and dreams of becoming an all-star lineman. Hiruma is the team's captain and quarterback. He's nefarious but well-intentioned, and his sharp mind crafts trick play after trick play to make up for his lack of physical gifts. Manta is the Devilbats' all-star wide receiver, a failed baseball player who was a phenomenal catcher who couldn't throw to save his life. When he realizes football is a sport he can finally excel at by focusing on his strengths, he refocuses his dream to becoming the greatest receiver in Japan. Nearly every member of the Devilbats are memorable. I mean, even the unmemorable players are memorable, which is a feat considering how many personalities are sharing the field at a given time. On the opposing side of the ball, characters feel just as developed. Shin is one of Sena's greatest adversaries. An expert linebacker, he's the disciplined leader of Damon's arch-rivals, the Ojo White Knights. Panther is the alias of an American athlete who Sena strikes a friendly rivalry with. While the talent of Japan is formidable, the United States is viewed as the mecca of football, a gold standard of performance that few other countries can compare to. Then there's Riku, Kid, Aegon, Bamba, Sakuraba, and Gao. And all these characters add depth to the world of Eyeshield and make sure the opposing team doesn't just feel like a revolving door of bad guys. In fact, upping the stakes is one of the things that Eyeshield does best. The Devilbats set out to obtain their dream of playing in the Christmas Bowl, which is the high school championship for football. But first, they struggle to even win a game. They face heart-crushing losses, but eventually make their way to the fall tournament, their ticket to playing in the Christmas Bowl. They play team after team, and even once their pursuit of the Christmas Bowl is resolved, the stakes are raised even higher. And the ending of the manga feels incredibly earned and satisfying. But specifically, the ending of the manga, because there are some pretty big differences between the manga and the anime. But easily the worst thing about the anime is the ending. After defeating their rival Ojo White Knights in the fall tournament, right before the final round starts, the anime just ends. I assume the choice to end the anime here was more of a financial decision than a creative one, but there's hardly any hint of a resolution. I mean, they never achieved their dream of playing in the Christmas Bowl. At least in the anime like Bleach left on hiatus with a conclusive ending, and this just feels wrong. It's particularly shocking to me given how big Eyeshield was in Japan. The manga sold over 20 million copies, in-person football competitions were held by Shueisha in the name of Eyeshield 21, and it's believed to be responsible for a boom in football's popularity in the country. And I don't know, maybe the anime could have went on longer if the openings weren't like this. The title Eyeshield 21 refers to a name inherited by the greatest running backs at Notre Dame. Sena is given the name by his teammates and struggles with his ability to fill the large shoes given to him. In fact, this theme of inadequacy is at the core of many of Eyeshield's storylines. Manta laments his failures as a baseball player. It feels like he's given up on his oath to his favorite childhood baseball player to make it to the pros.
俺はなこいつに命かけてんだ野球ダメだからアメフトでなんて簡単に切り替えられるかよでも同じキャッチングならほっといてくれよ全部終わったんだ夢だから覚めるのは当たり前なんだよ終わったんだよ全部な
Sakuraba, an Ojo wide receiver, is a heartthrob model, but a liability to his team. After being injured, his genius superstar teammate Shin tells him that whether or not he was injured wouldn't have made a difference on the team.
本当のことを言ってくれ。俺がいたらもっと楽に勝てたか。
いや、何も変わらなかったろうな。
そうか。
Sakuraba realizes that compared to a natural talent like Shin, he'll have to work that much harder to make up for his lack of athleticism. In the end, he actually becomes an ace receiver to rival Manta. Now, on the negative side of some of the themes in Eyeshield 21, there are some portrayals of race that could be considered questionable at best.
挨拶とは殊勝な心がけだにピヨピヨだけど褒めてやるになんだと今ここで青天したのかやれるもんならやってみるに返り討ちにしてやるに
I mean, that, I don't know if you'd call overtly racist, but it's certainly a dated depiction that feels at least a little bit off. The biggest elephant in the room is the character of Panther. Panther himself is actually a positive character who just wants to do his best and compete with Sena. But despite good intentions, his initial story arc just feels wrong. Panther is supposed to represent the stereotypical black experience with playing professional sports. He grew up in a poor family, was raised by his grandmother, and wants to earn money playing pro football to give back to her. But he's stuck on a team with a racist coach who refuses to start any non-white players, despite Panther's exceptional ability. When the Devil Bats play an exhibition game against Panther's American team, he has to watch from the sidelines as his coach starts to lose ground against the underdog Japanese team. Panther's team begs their coach to put him in the game until he relents. On paper, it's not a negative message, but it feels inauthentic being told from a Japanese perspective. Panther is treated like a unicorn for having unique athletic ability compared to his other teammates. I wonder what about him is so unique. The manga's final arc reeks of racial inferiority, which is a manga trope where Asians are presented as having natural physical disadvantages compared to white and black people. Throw in a Native American teammate who speaks in broken Japanese to represent a stereotypical native dialect, despite all of his other teammates speaking perfect, quote, Japanese in the context of the manga, and the president being an all-American white man named Arnold Obama? It's a shame, too, because everything else in the final arc feels like a perfect climax. The stakes are brought to a level higher than you ever thought possible, and it's clear the author got to end the series exactly how he wanted. I wonder how many people, before scanlations really took off on the internet, finished the anime and never even knew about how the manga truly ended. I wonder if a few things had gone differently, Eyeshield would have become a household name. There were actually plans to partner with an NFL affiliate site to broadcast the anime, but whatever was conceived clearly fell through. Maybe if that happened, you would have seen racks of Damon Devilbat jerseys on the racks of Hot Topic next to the My Hero Academia graphic tees. But for anyone interested in trying this series out, I recommend finding a good scanlation online. I usually don't advocate for pirate sites, but the manga isn't on the Shonen Jump app, and as someone who bought the out-of-print manga physically, I can tell you it can get really expensive really fast. So if you do decide to venture into the hellscape of pirated manga, or settle for the truncated anime storyline, you'll find it's a totally enjoyable experience that's well worth the effort of getting into.